the level of self-giving that is being exhibited here. So this is the first time I'm meeting Felix in person. I've interacted with the story, one of the stories he gave us. And I remember I was making an infographic on the same, and he was speaking on the challenge of how in the past, it was never a worry for people to, look for water, to go out looking for water. All they did was plant, knowing fully that the rains will come and that there's going to be a harvest. But right now, farmers are looking for water instead of tending to their fields. I really liked that input from you, and yeah, I'm sure it will go forward, and the people who are funding this project will appreciate the works that we are doing collaboratively. All right. Next up is the lady there, who's going to introduce herself, where she's coming from, and she'll let us know the challenges that our community is facing. Please.
My name is Arwin from Western Province, Naroro in particular. The climate change effects are there in Naroro, visibly seen in the sense that the food production has reduced very, very much, especially that Naroro depends mostly on the rice growing, which is in the plains, and the maize production, cassava production at the lowlands. But now that we didn't have waters in the last few years in the place of Naroro, people there depend entirely on rice production. It is their main source of livelihood. And for this it has been very difficult to survive in Naroro, especially that there have been very bad yields of rice. There was no water completely in the plains. I don't know what will happen this year if the rain is still being scarce like it was the previous year. That is the main challenge. Maize also is not there. Right now, people are queuing for milling there in Naroro like it. If you see just a very big group of people gathering, just know that they are selling milling there. And there is fighting for that maybe as if you are not buying, as if you are just seeing the way the people scramble for milling in Naroro. And it is going at a very high rate. Those who manage to get it at a low price again, they resell it at a very, very high price of about 360. Breakfast minimum at the 325, 320 roller. That is a challenge. Food is a challenge. The main meal, which is maize, it's very, very, very expensive and very hard to find. Also, the cassava that is there, it's like over late, it is getting rotten in the soil because of the temperatures. The temperatures are high, and when you try and uproot the cassava trees which we have there so that maybe you can have a supplement of the meal, you find that the cassava is rotten. It just gets rotten there in the soil because of the heat. It is very hot. So we don't know what to do next. Also the production of fish. Some people there depend entirely on fish. On fish farming, not really fish farming, but from the fishing which is done in the Zambezi River, other water bodies there. Now that there was no water, even the fish is somehow scarce. Very few fish come out from there, and then when they get it from there, they know that it's really food, there's not plenty, so it gets high. The prices tend to be very high. of the little fish that is there. Also, the shortage of power shortage. That one is a crisis all over the country, I think. Even Nairobi is not left out. For us to find water there, even water to drink, uh, it is occasional. Maybe you can have running water for about an hour, depending on the schedule the rest of people there. Then again, a few drops at time, you have to go and fetch water from distant places. It is also a mental challenge. I think that is why I can say at the time that we are facing a lot. There are a lot, but some of them have been already covered by the theories coming from other places. The same thing which are affecting us. Like I would say the lack of capital for some of us who are the lack of money which we are supposed to use to sustain the others to stop using these methods of deforestation we are talking about, to stop our deforestation and start the planting of trees. At least we find time to talk to them when we have meetings, or public meetings. We strategize through dramas, we talk to the people on the importance of planting trees. But now the same questions arise. When I plant a tree today, how long does it take for it to mature? Am I going to eat the apple it will give in 10 years' time? Why should I suffer? And when you stop me from cutting down trees, what do you expect from me? What do you expect? How do you expect me to feed my children? Are you going to give me an alternative measure or a mean of living? Unless you tell me that you give me something to do, that's when I'm still selling junk. So you just keep quiet and try to. We don't know how we will help our people. Maybe this house here will help us. I think I'll end there.
Right. Thanks a lot for the sentiments. Again, another round of applause. So the issue with climate change is it's been it's been affecting the world for a very long time now, and the effects are only being realized right now, especially in Africa. Perhaps we could have noticed that, okay, in this season, it was a little bit colder as opposed to the current year, going years back, 18 years back, and all that. We could have noticed this and had conversations on that, meaningful conversations. I think the rest of the world has definitely paid attention to the effects of climate change. And for us as Zambians, we tend to note that even the ZESCO situation has brought us down to earth. We've heard of what she said about the challenges our community is facing in Western Province. We tend to note that these people oftentimes are not seeking to farmers who are growing rice and all that. And you notice that rice requires a lot of water for it to grow. So that is a community affected because it is a community that has been enculturated in such a way that they rely on the growth of rice to grow their families or to maintain the integrity of their families. So that is a challenge that is well noted. definitely, even in our programming, we'll be looking at areas in which we can come in. Obviously, we come in as middlemen to bring the two parties together. That is government as well as the community members. So to sit down, have conversations. How are we going to address these issues? So in the same way that we're meeting here with different stakeholders, we'll continue doing that until we actually realize the fruitfulness of having these conversations. That's on anchoring on sustainable development and all that. So we have our last speaker there, who is going to introduce himself, where he's coming from, as well as the challenges his community is facing in the wake of climate change.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon. Good morning, colleagues. My name is George Msombero. I'm from Poland, particularly from Sancha district. It appears we have similar challenges. The three provinces that have been represented here. However, I will not speak much on what have been highlighted, but I will just talk about a bit of a different aspect. So among the effects of climate change that we are faced with, one of them was noted out by the LDA, crop diseases. And the previous presenter mentioned cassava plantains, the tubers getting rooted down there. So this is one of the challenges we are facing in Sangha district and Ruakura in particular. Then this has also brought about food insecurity in most of our homes in the district and the province. So in fact, as we speak now, if we are to go house by house, we inquire how much food people have reserved for now. A good number of people have no food at this point in time. And then we also have issues to do with water. The presenter, is it Mr. The gentleman talked of the shallow toilets, right?
Gibson.
Yes, Gibson. So this is the most critical challenge we have in our community, where I'm coming from in particular. Our members of the community dig very shallow wells, and the toilets, when it comes to floods during the rainy season, you will find that when the area is flooded, the two parties mixes together, thereby getting the health hazard in as far as accessing clean water is concerned. However, how are we trying to adapt to this challenge? We have an organization called Access Water for Zambia. So this organization is providing clean water by putting up piped water in rural communities. So we tried to engage them. First, they refused. I don't know whatever reason. Then we had to go back to them. We are going to apply. So we did the reapply. As we speak today, having a meeting with the community members to see on how best they can move forward. So that is how in the direction which we are going as far as accessing clean water is concerned. Then we also have storm winds. Storm winds, especially during the cold season and the rain season. This is affecting our communities by blowing off Upuyan, they're blown off. Some iron sheets are taken away because of the story. However, how are we dealing with this? We engaged the forest department sometime last month to come on board train members on how to do the seed generation of plants. Sorry? Yeah, pre-nursery. So then we asked them, can they help the communities with the trees to replant in the community? They said they don't have capacity because money should be involved. Then we said, why can't you come on board, train the community members on how to come up with the tree nursery? If they are trained, we move in the right direction to reduce all the effects of deforestation. So these are some of the issues that we are facing as a community, particularly Central District, and other concerns have already been highlighted by the representatives represented earlier on. Then in the other challenges, we are seeing our community members are not accessing agriculture inputs on time. Then the other thing is the same members who've been accessing agriculture inputs in terms of fertilizer and seeds are the ones who are still benefiting, giving out a larger portion of the population not to have access to inputs. So this is also bringing down food insecurity in our communities. So if in a way we can find a solution to address these challenges of having inaccessibility to inputs and allow a larger number to access inputs, going forward will reduce on the effects of food insecurity. I can rest my case here. I thank you for.
All right, thank you. I'm glad that I didn't have to ask you to give a round of applause. Yeah, I love the aspects that you touched on as you were presenting. I think one thing that comes out from all three presentations is actually that the issues are cross-cutting. Yeah, the issues are cross-cutting. So even in our programming, we could have a streamlined kind of thought process in addressing the effects of climate change on the communities out there. So in that regard, let me not belabor so much. I'm working with the team that's in this project. And I would love to hear from the rest of the house how the effects of climate change can be addressed. Also, just maybe if you have sentiments over the presentations that were made, any questions and the like, just feel free. I'd just like to open the floor right now. Yes.
Just want to find out how they are coping with the drought situation, especially since the problems solid for the how are you coping, knowing that most of the life for the people in southern province it depends on animals boundary. That's as well. Then are you experiencing also things like internal migration where people are now moving from certain localities to another?
Okay, in the first place, there's a was where our fathers you don't manage to try Any further advancement?
Thanks a lot. Yes.
Just a sentiment I would like to pass, and it's very for me. This was the most important session. The rest was ceremony, and I think we missed an opportunity when we had MPs around to listen for themselves. What is happening? What our people are really going through? And the some members of parliament, those are politicians, the agenda of our advocates' agenda to them. And I think after those opening, I think this was supposed to be got first. So that we get their commitments, we get what's the next step. And I think we can, I think I would also want to appreciate the people of KCTR and going out to interact with these communities. I think they are now able to speak and communicate, but I think it would have also been better for the policymakers to hear for themselves. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for that sentiment. We are alive to that. I think if you did take note of the program that we shared when the invitations were sent out, even the members of parliament were supposed to be around now during this session, and they should have responded to some of the experiences that the community members are facing. But that is taken note of. So even next time when we're making the agenda, we'll make sure to bring out the community members first, then the MPs later. That's a brilliant suggestion. Okay. Yes.
I think this is a brilliant project. My comments will be around the leveraging on other projects that are happening, where this same project is happening. Because I think from George from Zambia, after seeing the water issue in the area, they reached out to Access Water for Zambia, speaking to Access Water for Zambia, on how they can maybe help out in the water situation. So I wanted to also just find out how, from the project end, how we mapped out projects that we can deliver on as we continue implementing.
Okay. Which of you would like to respond to that? Or could we accommodate one more question? Is that a question or a question for the community members of the JCPR?
For the community members.
Okay. Perhaps we allow that one question before we forget.
Okay, thank you, Moderator. Thanks, Igor, for the question. So yeah, we are trying to work with other stakeholders in the area besides ourselves. For sometimes we have two projects in the same area, but we also try to see who else is working with Kazongwe, who else is in Mansa, who else is in Sasha. All these targeted just within these communities for sustainability. But also we know that development projects usually have a lifespan 1, 2, 3 years, 5 years at most. So the best has been to link them to existing permanent structures in the district, most of which are usually government structures, to ensure that even without any project, they at least have a project. Because oftentimes existing projects have a limited lifespan, but we've been trying to create linkages at district level to ensure that even when JCTI is no longer there, CSPI is not there, Center for Development is not there, or PMRC, these people are able to continuously engage, especially the council, the local authorities, the BUDC, these structures that are in place that are supposed to wait for local development. But also just on what Brian raised, I think we missed an opportunity. But I'm aware that my colleagues are doing a recording, and since these members of parliament are ambassadors of our project, we engage them on what has come from there. But it would have been nice for them to be here and they quickly respond. But I'm told parliament, they are forming committees today, so most of them are being called parliament, we are forming new committees today. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Michomizia. Remember, Michomizia is the lead officer for the project. That's climate change adaptations and environmental management. So, yeah, just to, before you come in again, just to touch on that again in regards our programming. I believe Mitchell also was going to touch on the aspect of using the human rights-based approach to ensure continuity of the project out of the confines of whatever budget line we have. At least when community members are told that this is your right to have access to dignified standards, these community members who spread that information, who spread that knowledge with their, their families, their friends, and whatever connections they may have, and make sure that there's continuity beyond the program. So that is how we manage each and every one of our projects through the human rights-based approach. Teach the community members that this is your right. They'll follow their carers and civic leaders and say, hey, you haven't built our well, you haven't built the dam, you haven't done this, the bridge is non-existent, you need to do this and that. That's how sustainable development will be achieved. Yes.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to recommend what you are doing as a brilliant program. I think the biggest challenge is lack of knowledge or where to get the information. Yes. I've heard my brother from Saudi say, yes, quite right, they approach the Red Cross over dams. But there's, at a district level, there are some offices which deal with dams, and that is water resources development. So there's that maybe misinformation. That's what I can say. And the other thing is what the approach that they're using over when they're going to stopping people doing chapter dam. What intervention to a program do they need to do to convince people to stop that? I like reinforcing that you can't just come to me and say, you can you stop it. What alternative things you try to convince those people so I can stop? And the other thing is that you said over the network. I think this is a public issue. You go there anytime, anywhere. I don't think they can be turning off. They say no. Today we are busy. I don't know. Yeah, but when it comes to water issues, councils, the development, there's the water development, sanitation, and these other NGOs. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, my first answer the last question, the question about me. When we are saying coordinate between us and the forest department, this is what we are saying. We have engaged ourselves between meetings with them several times. When we are in need of them to render services to our people, it's already failing. We have talked to them on what we need in terms of seeding. In terms of those people are saying in terms of the day-to-day income, they tell us to say whether we need to get more of the people to be cheap. They ain't there. So that's a problem. Not going to be getting. Then the first question, actually, I want also to say I also read that these folks being the same project. Because that's what's been in the planning this project and management that you found those to cycle. What we have done so far is we have come up with their projects. We are teaching people on planting fruit trees. We explain to them the importance of having fruit trees. In response to Chako Benny, We have also come up with a project where we are teaching people to make cook stories. Thereby, those cook stories are making, you don't need loads of wood to cook, just sticks in the grass itself like that. So we have a lot of programs that we're doing. Right now, we are even teaching people how to make bokashi, also compost manure, trying to make sure that they're able to sustain their family systems away from these artificial fertilizers. Because not all of them have money to access the agents. Okay? Then also we have what we call keyhole gardening, where we are teaching our community members on how to make that easy. Like we can you don't have money to buy drainage. You have a key, a small garden behind your house. It is easy for you to acquire vegetables. And the reason why I say this time around, people are seeming to be, adhering with the mindset that they're trying to change away from check money to this. Because when we are talking with them, we even further explain the use of the tree, starting from the basis and finding most buildings that are placed all from trees. The shelter, any source of work that the tree does for human life, we advise them. So now they're slowly changing turning on because they are seeing the dangers of cutting down trees. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you for our community representatives. For me, I have a question. Because the people communities where especially where experience is great. Have we ever tried to maybe ascertain our perception and that our perception as something that really has also caused our vulnerability towards climate change? I think I can give an example. We have feast every year out, government spends money, but have never looked like maybe our agricultural practices has also led to our vulnerability, because I know one thing that FISPO should do is for crop diversification away from the maize that we want to grow into legumes. But most of the times we see where government would want to include a lot of legumes on our package, there's that outcome. But it's like if we really want to stick to this one crop that we want to grow, that is maize, don't you also feel like there's supposed to be a mindset shift in how we want to tackle this issue of climate change, away from maybe having a blame game to where within the agriculture sector are saying no, there's no agriculture proofing, especially from government. But remember, some of those initiatives that our government is trying to put in place is an opportunity for us also to try to climate proof, especially our livelihoods. Like how is the experience in our communities to do issues of mindset shift in the way like in the way we used to live, like in the way we used to be living. I know climate change has really hit southern province the most. But why that has been the case also is because that has been an agricultural province for a long time. So we more or less like misused our environment, whereby we made it vulnerable. And now we are trying to move to the north. We've moved to central province and keep on moving up north because that's where the rain is. So what are we carrying from southern province to northern province to ensure that even where we're going, we do not destroy the environment? So it's like those are some of the things. What are we doing as communities, especially as who are privileged, to be able to sensitize people to say some of the vulnerabilities that we are going through due to climate change, we have an opportunity ourselves to prove ourselves from such.
Okay. Of course, it's the mind section, the behavior in agriculture sector. It's very true, my sister put it right. While we are running from southern province to northern, towards we have completely cut down the things that were giving us range for us to be able to grow our own food. The fact is that in the program that we are trying to do, of course, we are trying to come to peace, a comeback, or whatever how can you say? We are trying to go back to the indigenous things that we found, which were our forefathers were planting. during that time, people were not used to artificial fertilizers. They were using animal manure and the other vices to make sure that they're able to grow their food systematically. So this time around, physics is doing its best. I'll tell you one thing that is happening like in our province. I remember I was in class for last year when the government had soybeans, groundnuts. What people were doing, instead of growing the soybean and the groundnuts, some were selling, some were frying, because all they know is the only crop they can grow is maize. They don't value the cash crops. So it is the reason why we need to put our heads together and try to change the minds of the people to understand. It's the reason last time around we are encouraging them to do the intercropping. I'm pretty sure this year most of our farmers will do the intercropping system because we are looking at which crop survives, which crop is drought resistant. So you can have maybe 5 different crops in one field. When the maize dies out, maybe soybeans will survive. At the end of the day, when you sell them, you get money to go and buy a tin of maize for you to feed the family. I hope I'm there, man.
Yes, no, thank you.
Additionally, maybe it could be because of the already market that is there for maize. This is why most people in our communities are going for maize. But I like it the way you put it, say the government is trying to bring on board other legume crops, like you had decided the soybeans, right? So previously the market for soybeans was very low. So then when you as compared to maize, so when you ifika the market, nakarupia kama no matter what you want. So people would go for maize because market is ready. If the government can come up with policies to create the market for these other legumes, maybe try and reduce the price for maize. Maybe we'll see the diversification of crops in a way.
That is actually where I come from. The other time the government gave us groundnut seeds. They were giving seeds, groundnut seeds there. But people ended up eating the groundnuts instead of planting. Why? Because they are used to rice growing and they think it is more profitable than even growing the groundnuts.
Yeah, so that's
It
another
is
matter
a
of the
problem. Yes.
Even in southern province, you see, southern province has been called the food basket of Zambia, remember. Should I say we believe or they believe? As long as we believe in maize farming, we think animal husbandry, maize farming is the best for a Tonga man. So like different strategies, the Tonga man will look at it, what is this? Which is it? It's wasting my time. We don't see the potential in these other cash crops. So the reason why I'm saying we have to put our heads together. You know, I have a field around the road. I stay not far from the road. Just from my place, 1 foot in the road. So the other time we planted soybeans by the road. And people were passing it. Mr. Chairman, what is the soybean? Blaming me, why did you put soybeans instead of putting me? You're destroying the fields. I was like, no, don't worry. And it was a demo thing I did. When these crops are experienced, that's last year. I harvested soybeans. Right now, as I'm talking, I still have 5 bags and 50 kgs of soybeans. But I don't have any maize that I harvested. And they want me to sell the soybeans to them, and I'm saying no.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments? If not, I think we can give our community representative a round of applause. I think they've done.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to talk about, remember when the members of parliament were here, I said I was going to talk about it. These lawmakers are the people that we should work together with hand in hand, especially that we have seen that deforestation has taken, place in our various places. I want to tell them that when they go to parliament, they should present us, especially if we look at the law of Chakobani, because sometimes I drive. In the night, it trucks that you meet on the way, being Chako to Lusaka, you shed tears, all those are things in there. We know that charcoal is a source of energy that people use for cooking, especially in urban areas. But it is actually contributing to high rates of climate change, whereby people in town won't be able to cook after farmers fail to grow maize because there will be no rains for the farm to produce maize. So I also apply to them that if they hear me, I don't know, that when they're in parliament, you table such issues because I remember that time I was talking to our legal parliament, he said the parliament, there's no law that bans someone from charcoal burning, so meaning they allow that uneducated people. But unfortunately, the forest department, they use licenses to people to burn charcoal and maybe they don't know the location where that person is going to cut trees from. So this is just what I wanted to say to the parliament, that before and after we should be looking into it to see how good we can do it, circulate together. At the ground level, we are stopping people from cutting trees. Higher levels they are allowed, so I'm with who I am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Additional, even our traditional leaders and chiefs, like you mentioned, they want to say, they are the ones who are giving pennies for those who can practice in Jacobite. So if they can be talked to stop the vice. Also, the issue of bush burning. There's that component of something like that. So if that can be tabled with before they have the chiefs and see how best they can stop the vice, maybe we'll be moving forward in the right direction.
Well, thank you so much. I think those are very submissions. And of course, as Jessica, I will take some of these and present them to the authorities. So please join me in thanking our community members through a round of applause for the good work that they have done.
So we are starting with the presentation from the Ministry of Green Economy and Energy. What comes first? Green energy and economy, or
Environment, not energy.
green economy and environment. Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Joseph Chombo. I am Chief Climate Change Officer from the Department of Green Economy and Climate Change. So I'm making this presentation on the climate change adaptation and the environmental management. What is it that we are doing as the ministry? So this is my presentation outline. I'll talk about climate change scenario in Zambia, the mandate of the ministry, the opportunities, and the collaboration. So basically, this is our climate change picture for Zambia. We have seen from time, from the 60s, the temperatures have been increasing, and it has been projected that the temperature is expected to increase by 1.2 to 3.4 degrees Celsius by 2050 if mitigation activities are not undertaken. Then more extreme weather events will take place, like the drought, the floods, the heat waves, and so on. Then the rainfall variability has already been alluded to. It keeps on fluctuating. There are certain years when we receive moderate or normal rainfall, sometimes we experience droughts and floods. So which sectors have been impacted, or which, the sectors which have been impacted so much is the agricultural sector, the water sector, the human and health. We have seen the increase in number of vector transmitting disease evolving as a result of climate change. The energy sector and infrastructure, this is the thing that we're experiencing. We're having problems sometimes for 30 minutes, 1 hour, maybe for 48 hours we're in darkness. Then the ecosystem also have been affected. We have seen a loss of biodiversity. So in the picture you can see what is it that we're experiencing. The water levels in the Kariba dam has reduced. We have seen plants drying up. So that is the overall picture or the scenario as far as climate change is concerned. So this is how our ministry is structured. It is guided by a number of policies which have been gazetted. We have the biosafety, carbon credit policy, climate change policy, environmental policy, environmental protection and pollution control, the forestry policy, the green economy and industrial policy, which is yet to be developed, and the meteorological services, which is under the Department of Zambia Meteorological Department. So basically those are the departments that we have from the ministry. We have 4 technical departments at the ministry, that is environmental management, the green economy and climate change, forestry and meteorological. Then we have got the support department, the human resource and the administration, the planning and policy, and then finance. Then we also have statutory bodies. We have the National Biosafety Authority. Then we have got ZEMA, the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, and the Zambia Forestry College, which is based in Kitwe. Then these are the policy documents that guides our operation. First of all, we have the National Development Plan. Now we are implementing the 8th one. Then we have the National Policy on Climate Change. We have the National Adaptation Plan, which guides on how we should implement interventions in order to cope up with the effect of climate change. Then we have got the National Determined Contribution, the NDCs, which is an international document, but it has been domesticated to suit our environment. Then we have the National Green Growth Strategy, which was launched just in April this year. Then we have The National Climate Change Communication and Advocacy Strategy. This is the document that guides us on how we should communicate climate change information. And again, within the ministry, we have got the designated national authority. This is a committee that looks at carbon projects. This is very important, and I remember the Honorable Minister mentioned it. These are the guidelines that you may use when you are developing carbon projects. So we have got a number of things that you need to follow for you to come up with a carbon project. So this is the document that you can use. So like for example, in the National Development Plan, the F1, we have got a dedicated pillar which is environmental sustainability. And again, there we have outlined how we are going to handle mitigation. So strengthen climate change mitigation. There are programs which have been outlined. We have got also strengthen climate change mitigation. How are we going to reduce on the emission of greenhouse gases? So that is also outlined. Then the other one basically focuses on information services, everyone system, which is very important, especially for our farmers, in order to know when they should plant and not to plant. So all that is contained in the early warning system and disaster response recovery. So just some highlights in the National Policy on Climate Change. It emphasizes on a number of programs, but in terms of measures, we have got the adaptation and disaster risk reduction, mitigation and low emission development strategies, and cross-cutting issues like capacity building, research and development, education and public awareness. It also covers the issues of gender. We know that climate change affects gender differently. How it affects a woman and how it affects a man. All those things are some of the things that have been covered. Then the technology development and transfer, we are talking about improved cook stoves, all those things are covered under technology development and transfer. Then it also covers the promotion of green investments. Then I've talked about the national retirement contribution. This is as a result of the Paris Agreement that Zambia ratified in Paris. That is called the Paris Agreement. So in that document, it contains, initially it had 3 major programs, which consisted of sustainable forest management, renewable energy efficiency, and sustainable agriculture. That was the first NDC that we developed in 2015-2016. Then we revised this document in 2021, and we added 3 more sectors. We included transport, coal, and liquid waste. That is under mitigation. Then under adaptation, we are talking about the strategic productive system in the areas of agriculture, wildlife, and water. Then also talk about the strategic infrastructure and health systems, and also capacity building, research, technology transfer, and finance. So this is the documents that help us to mitigate and adapt to climate change. So climate change policy response to agriculture. This is also contained in the National Adaptation Plan. The National Adaptation Plan basically is an overarching document which guides sectors to come up with sector-specific adaptation plans. So we developed the first National Adaptation Plan last year, and it was launched in November. The only ministry that has developed the National Adaptation Plan is the health sector.
So if the support that we received from the Green Climate Fund GCF, it helped us to develop this document. And then the next documents we are supposed to develop is the water map. So we are still in negotiation to see that money that was dedicated to development of this important. Climate change. Then, as I indicated this year, we just launched the Green Growth Strategy, which covers the 4 pillars. It covers the resilience and climate compatible growth, whereby we should come up with the technologies that does not promote or enhance the emission of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Then it also talks about enhanced resource efficiency. How do we use our resources efficiently? So in this case, we are referring to issues circular economy. Then we also talk about enhanced natural capital, that is in the utilization and management, restoration of land, forest management, water and minerals. Then the 4th pillar talks about improved inclusivity. So under this, in this document, we ensure that no one is left behind. It covers all the sectors, gender, and other areas. So I've talked about the awareness strategy. Then collaborative climate change interventions. So what are the areas of collaboration? So we collaborate with the various stakeholders in various ministries and sectors in terms of developing pipeline projects. And I should also mention that in the ministry we have got the National Designated Authority, which manages the Green Climate Fund and the Adaptation Fund, which is embedded in the ministry, and also within the department where I'm coming from, the Green Economy and Climate Change Department. So that authority helps also stakeholders to come up with the projects for adaptation and also for mitigation. So other areas of collaboration is financial and technical support. We help stakeholders to come up with the bankable project proposals. We solicit from our cooperating partners resources so that we can collaboratively develop pipeline projects with the various stakeholders. Then capacity building and awareness. We have been talking about the carbon market and trading. So we have been reaching out to stakeholders on how they can tap into this market and participate. Then core project design and implementation. We develop some kind of projects, like for instance in Central Province, Wakula and Uchila, we have been implementing a project called ecosystem-based adaptation. So when the gentleman from Central said we have been approaching the forestry for seedlings, I was quite skeptical because under that project we have been buying seedlings in collaboration with the forest department, which we distribute to the communities. Then the other areas of collaboration is information sharing. So what are the multi-sector climate change intervention? There we have climate change intervention. We work with different stakeholders. We work with civil society organizations, NGOs, and cooperative partners. The ministry, even if I mentioned that we have been implementing projects, but our major role is not to implement projects, but to play a role of facilitating. Because climate change is a cross-cutting issue.
So we are open to work with the various development partners. Now, what are the challenges that we face in our operations? The first one is the inadequate finances. Then also, in terms of collaboration, there are certain institutions which does not collaborate with us, whereby they do not conform with the development plans that the government have been developing. Then the other challenge is low level of private sector participation. And as we mentioned in we mentioned in the morning, without multi-level sector participation, we cannot win the fight against climate change. Climate change it cuts across all the sectors, it has got no boundaries. Then the other thing is the scarcity of data. So that, for instance, the data is not always available. But lately, we have got the comfort that through the meteorological departments, data they have installed in all the districts automated weather stations, which at least is helping the ministry to project the weather information, which is I can say maybe 50% accurate, because we need more of automated weather stations so that we can capture the accurate data that we can give to the community, especially the farmers, to tell them when they should plant, the amount of rainfall that is expected in a particular area, and so on. Then we have got limited technical support in terms of the preparation of bankable project proposals. The proposal, someone can just write a proposal, but how bankable is it? Have they done it? Is very start for them to come to implement a project? So that technical capacity is quite limited as well. So we need to build a lot of capacity. So what I'm trying to say, climate change is real and it affects everyone. So what is your, should ask yourself, what is your role? What is my role? So that is very, very important. So in terms of adapting to climate change and for sustainable environmental management, we need to act now. So we should learn what we can do to act on climate change. Thank you.
All right. Many thanks, Mr. Music, who's from the Ministry of Green Energy and Environment.
Green economy.
Green economy and environment.
Yes.
And before we can ask any questions, I'd like for us to exhaust the presentations first. So just take note of any questions you may have as the presentations have been made. Thereafter, we can ask questions as a whole. Then that will be the end of our meeting, and we'll close in prayer and have lunch. So the next presentation is coming from Mr. Jones Banda from the Ministry of Water Development. A round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we have already mentioned, my name is Adaptations. From Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation. I'm just going to do a brief presentation. I know it's not on PowerPoint. Let's see. Since the declaration of drought by the President, there are a lot of intervention the ministry is doing to mitigate the impact of droughts in this country. And highlights those interventions. One, there's routine maintenance of 770 dams across the country. In those 84 districts, the most affected districts. The This is Mchinga, Central, Lusaka, Western, Southern, and Eastern Province. So our officers are down speaking right now. They are on the ground doing the maintenance of these dams so that come rain season, we are able to harvest more water so that we can use for our irrigation, animal watering, and the agricultural activities. There is a rehabilitation of 6 dams. This is done by ZNS. I'm speaking right now. ZNS is in full swing doing the rehabilitation of these dams to various districts and sites. On top of that, there is the construction of 28 dams. New construction, which is going on, which is being done by our private contractors. There's a visibility, we're taking visibility studies of 40 small dams across the country. 40 small dams. These dams will be done next year. So we're just doing the preliminary visibility study. We go back to our process with the designs and everything that will be tendered to these commercial private contractors. Then there's a visibility of 2 large dams. 2 large dams. So these are Karomo Dam in Karomo district and Lokupa Dam in Kasem. Coming to what are we doing in terms of bordering, we are doing groundwater mapping and development in these various districts. As you are aware that in all the 10 provinces, as you are aware that the water affairs the leads drill balls for the least affected areas. We are doing bulk water transfer. So there's a suggestion that we need to get water from the north to the field. As you are aware, 2 weeks ago, our minister signed an MOU, the Chinese. We want to get water from Wapula River to the field. So there's those interventions so that we increase the water level in this. Other intervention our ministry is doing is the formulation of rainwater harvesting strategy. Of course, with the help of NGOs. This is done by GIZ. The formulation of resource mobilization strategy and implementation. That is the water investment program. That's it. Yes. Say groundwater development that is in Chipangali, in Chipalamba, in Kasenenga. We're working with SADC GMI over this project. So these are some of the intervention that our ministry is doing to mitigate the impact of climate change. Thank you very much. I know there are a lot of intervention, but these are the main ones that I've remembered. Of course, we work with at the district level, we work with the local authority. I must mention that the department, from the department of water resources and development, there is another department that we have water supply and sanitation. I didn't have that much data over what they're doing right now, but of course, they're doing the board drilling and doing the concentration on board drilling, water supply in rural areas and sanitation. Coming from this part of these are the main ones that I've just remembered. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Are you still presenting? Or
No.
done?
But
if you want to continue, you can continue. All right. So many thanks for the presentation. You can have a seat. Yes, you can have a seat. I was now thinking to myself, I should have revisited. I was saying to my colleague, I didn't know that we are going to be drawing water from Wapula all the way to, all the way to Kafue to fill up the Kariba Dam. But in any sense, or in any case, rather, that's an issue we'll be following closely on. Is you tend to note that a lot of promises can be made, but then the actualization of those promises is almost always never made. But yeah, it's something that we will definitely look into. The next presentation is from the Ministry of Lands, and we have here with us Mr. Alan Dodge for the presentation. We may give him a round of applause.
I don't know if it's the shape of the presentation is a bit.
Oh, we've been trying to.
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope if the protocols to respect our members of parliament are gone. So I will simply say, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm going to give a presentation, a quick one, and this presentation was actually made here. When we received the invitation, and when it was given to me by my permanent secretary, I think the last paragraph I didn't read very well, where it was saying you need to prepare a presentation. So bear with me, I hope it's going to be something that is going to be successful in terms of your expectations. So I'm going to present on the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources programs as they relate to issues of climate change. They may not be very direct, but they are somewhat a little bit indirect, and I hope that you are going to understand. So my name is Alan Dauchi. I'm the Chief Natural Resources Management Officer in the Ministry. Oh, it's me to do it. Sorry. So this is my outline. I'm going to give you who are we. I'm not going to talk about land issues or surveying, cutting of plots and all those things. That's not what I do in Ministry of Lands. Ministry of Lands, I'm dealing with issues of natural resources, policy issues on natural resources management. I'm also going to talk about the domestication of the convention. The ministry is domesticating what we're calling the convention on biological diversity, and then I also dwell into the current activity that we are conducting, which is developing guidelines for the sustainable utilization of our wetlands, ecosystems in the country. I think I heard when we were discussing in the morning, someone somewhere mentioned about the wetlands dropping. So I'll talk about those things. We're developing guidelines for wetlands. Then I'll lastly talk about how are we creating synergies between you people, our other government ministries, NGOs, private sector, anybody that is of interest of natural resources, including the baby there. So, every ministry in government is given mandates. So, like in a house, we are given roles, isn't it? Father's roles, mother's roles. Although there are these issues of gender equality, which are somehow, to some extent, posing to be a bit of a challenge. But what I mean is that even at household level, we have got mandates. So even at the ministerial level, ministries are given mandates based on what? Government gazette. So in 2021, when the new dawn came into power, there was a Gazette Notice 1123, which was issued giving the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources a mandate of being the custodian of natural resources policy matters in the country. So what arose, I think in a summary, number one is that the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources domesticates the Global Biodiversity Convention. There's a convention there, global, not in Zambia. It's a global convention which promotes one, the conservation of biodiversity, the sustainable use of biodiversity, and lastly, the third objective is to promote benefit sharing. But can I ask someone in this workshop, what do you understand by biodiversity? You know me, I like talking and being on the same level of people. Some of these things may be scientific, they may be true. What is biodiversity? Don't answer it as per the book, but just in simple. What do you understand by biodiversity? So I think I'm talking to myself. Right? I'm not talking to myself. No, even try. Yes, I even now anything. Those who understand that you can say that. Biology.
Biological, which means bio, which means something which means, for example, biological biology, which means bio is
Okay. You are correct, madam. So I think what I would just say is that biological diversity is these things that are living. You see the trees, the wild animals, humans, we're all part of biological diversity. Although under the convention, we look mainly about these things that God made, animals, trees, right? But these things, they are important to us. You know what? How are they important to us? These trees. Huh? Yeah, there's so many benefits we get from natural resources. Wild animals give us tourism. Wetlands, these areas that you see in our landscape, wetlands, those are also important to us because there were fish in there. We use it for also tourism again, we use it for transport, but you will find that these natural resources are really under risk. In Kafue National Park right now, we have encroachment. People are living in the park. If you're entering the Kafue National Park, you find that people are living there. That is unplanned settlement. What can also be invasive species, these things that you are finding in the rivers, these plants. So all these are problems that but there are international methods of addressing it. So our ministry, when it goes to attend the international meetings, it brings those international best practices of how we can manage these things. And we do this by implementing what we call the National Biodiversity Action Plan. So we are also into research. We do undertake research with researchers to come up with new answers as to how we manage our natural resources. We also coordinate projects on natural resources. We also undertake communication, education, and public awareness on natural resources. We promote bilateral cooperation as well as mainstream national natural resources in the 8th National Development Plan and other national plans. So currently, we have the Global Biodiversity Framework, which was adopted in 2022 in Canada, which has 23 targets, which we are facilitating for domestication. But some of the examples of the targets are, we want to push for all sectors, that are dealing with natural resources, to be undertaking integrated spatial planning. Spatial planning is planning where everything is considered in our landscape. Land use plans. What do we have in land use plans? Land use plans, we have what? How to plan where our built environment will be, residential close where there will be commercial. We also plan where our protected areas will be. But there's a bit of a weakness somewhere in our planning these days. What is happening in villages? Find the elephants are wanting. They are fighting with people. Why is that happening? I've seen videos where in Zimbabwe, so an elephant is passing, so as if it hasn't seen the people. It's just passing nice. And you guys are passing nice. Do you think an elephant in Chihuahua can pass like that? What happens usually? You find there is that when they cross into Zambia, they become agitated. Okay? The reason is that I'm not saying all land use plans are not good, but I think some of them are not factored in some of these issues. Because these elephants, from hundreds of years, they've been passing somewhere. Now we're moving on to Kanyumba. So it has seen and why. So what we want as a ministry now is that we need to promote integrated spatial planning so that natural resources are part of planning. Okay? Then we're also trying to push for restoration of 30% of our degraded areas. I think most of our landscapes, especially the wetlands and other sensitive areas, are being degraded. There's a lot happening. Extractive industries, mining, extractive. And from these wetlands, for example, I talked about unplanned settlements, invasive alien species. So what we want is that 30% of these degraded areas, even where there's no water, we are having a lot of degradation. Farming, for example, there are some unsustainable farming practices happening. But by the end of the day, it's affecting also our biodiversity. So we want 30% of our land area and the water area. Then we are globally, they are saying 30% of our land should be protected. But in Zambia, I think statistics are saying we are protected about 40%. Water, terrestrial, underprotected areas. We are saying 30% globally. But for us, I think we are at 40%. But it needs to be grounded truth. Huh? We also want to reduce the impact of climate change on biodiversity. How does climate change affect biodiversity? I don't want Mr. Chombo to answer. These are things it does. But how does climate change affect our listeners? How does it affect?
Maybe
Yes,
the way maybe someone was presenting the situation where there are no rains, there will be no food. When there is no food, then people will start cutting trees.
Yes. Good. That is one of the impacts. But also sometimes away from the humans, but the animals, you find that the wildlife is moving away. It may even go to another country where maybe the rains were much better. It affects what? Tourism. So what we are saying is that working with green economy, target number 8 of that global framework we're talking about talks about reducing the impacts of climate change. So now, in terms of domesticating this same framework I was talking about, our ministry currently is conducting a national ecosystem assessment, is to understand how is our biodiversity in the country, what are the threats, and where are we going. We are conducting this. The country hasn't conducted something like this in a long time, so we want to understand what is happening to our natural resources. It's ongoing right now. There's a team at Cheetah in Mafua. They'll be finishing very soon. And after they conduct this, we are going to come up with new targets for biodiversity. Forestry, we want to come up with new targets. Fisheries, we want to come up with new targets. Those that are related to water, we want to come up with new targets. And we are working with you stakeholders. We are part of those experts. We are developing guidelines for the sustainable use of our wetlands. This drought, which happened, I don't think anyone in this room has not felt that. And if someone here says, I didn't feel it, it's either witchcraft, or maybe that's when you came from another country, you found citizenship, it wasn't affecting you where you were. But I think all of us here have felt the drought. I will not look so much at the screen, but quickly we are now witnessing as a ministry that wetlands are now in demand. By who? Mostly people are actually applying for a lot of title in wetlands administration right now. Investors want to go into wetlands. Why? Why do you think? One is mainly water pollution, the drought. So wetlands have some moisture in it, some water. So people now want to go there to take their animals to drink. They want to go there to get some water for agriculture. They want to sink boats. They want to do what? Things, a lot of things. But by the end of the day, if you have got no guidelines, what happens? Expand. And the 20 years from now, what is that? Yeah, it should be about 21 years or 20 years. Tell you right. So if from our wetlands, I will not understand, what is she going to say when she goes up? She'll laugh at you. She'll laugh at you and me to say, well, we're doing nothing. So that's why the government is saying we need the guidelines so that the guidelines indicate which wetlands will be the best for what activity. It will guide us on what restoration activities are needed for a certain wetland. Okay? These are the guidelines we are coming up with. The United Nations Development Program is supporting, so the process is advanced. We have a consultant. We have presented the paper here, how he's going to conduct it and develop it. The ministry has received his inception report. Now he's ready to go in the fields. He's going to go to important wetlands, gather information back. What's happening in the wetlands, then he's going to the guidelines. How do we work with you, water, green, non-government organizations? How do we work with you? We are working with all of you through what we have a national steering committee of biodiversity, which is chaired by Secretary of the Cabinet. Below that, we have the National Technical Committee of experts. Then we also have, we feed into the cluster, environmental sustainability of the 8th National Development Plan, where programs on biodiversity are reviewed, monitored, how are we faring as a sector, and then we report to what.
Many thanks for that presentation. I was just looking at your presentation and thinking to myself, oh, so this was actually done in here. That's not good. You did a great job on the presentation. Thanks. Yeah. I think we've heard quite a number of quite a number of issues that stem from the presentations that have been made. And I would like to call upon the House to now ask whatever question may have been sitting down, itching. You can now scratch to make sure that you're eased off. So any question, comment, if there is a contribution, or the same, welcome. Okay, we can start with the lady there.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentations. I have 3 questions. So the first one is for Ministry of Agriculture and Environment. You mentioned issues of capacity building for the farmers in line with the early warning systems. So when you are conducting these capacity building programs, do you labor to explain to the farmers or the communities when you talk about early warning systems, they really understand what these systems are and what it entails when it comes to issues of farming and what crops really they need to focus. I'm asking because my sister over there mentioned the time they were given groundnuts, to plant groundnuts, but instead of planting the egg. So were they educated in that line to say we are putting in these groundnuts because of ABC? This is what the weather will feel like in the next so that's my question. Then for water development, you mentioned about the transfer of water from Kafue, I mean from Tokula River to Kafue River. Are you working in collaboration with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to determine what destruction this project is going to bring when we talk about ecosystems? And also, during the rainy season, we usually have areas that are flooded. So do we also take advantage of that flow of water? Because sometimes we have a lot of water as a result of floods. We take advantage of that water and also maybe find a way to channel it into places where it can be useful. I think the last one I wanted to ask about the National Ecosystem Assessment. I wanted to find out if you're also working together with the water development, collaborating with water development. Yeah, thanks.
Right, thanks a lot. So I was almost saying that that's a loaded question, then I remembered it's a question distributed equally. So we can have another person to ask the question. Yes, Felix, you have a question?
Yeah. I'll come in later. Okay, I can answer.
Yes, please go ahead.
Our first community business now. We are holding the knowledge we are getting here is a lot involved. Now, my worry is that we are different than we are creating. We are one, but in mind. So keeping all these records in my head, because tomorrow when I go back, I need to life that way. Is there any provision of this information that we can show us when we are still there? That will go with us, that we're able to know. Oh, what do they say? Which part? What was happening? Last question.
Yeah.
So why did you have the introduction in it? What introduction?
We did have introduction. Okay, you can have the question.
Mine is really good. The time when we looked at early warning systems and meteorological information, I know they say they are implementing 50% or 50% right now, but that's so worrying. That's so worrying because in view of what you're experiencing right now, and from the presidential speech last week, where he said of the 4.4 million hectares of land that was planted, we are only harvesting about 1.5 million hectares of land. That goes back to our early warning systems and mechanisms that we are using. So what I expected then was more, maybe if we could exemplify more what we are doing as a ministry to ensure that what we went through this year, especially where crops were destroyed, because remember, government put in money, so this community development put in money through food packages, and there was a credit window that also this is where money was put in. So it's like there's a lot of money that went to waste. So like what quick wins, what are the short-term measures that we put across as a ministry to ensure that we avoid what happened in the past season or this season? Because I know you've removed the statement to say no, rains will start in October, but okay, you said rains will start in October. What are you doing to intensify that people are aware, people are know? Because I planted, but my maize didn't go in. So I'm one of the farmers who is discouraged to plant anymore. Because, so what are we doing? For me, that's what are we doing? So again, as we go home, we are sending this message to say, no, we are well going to the meeting, we had Ministry of Green, and this is what they're taking, this is what I said, they're doing it better than they did it last season in the past.
Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Could we, is your question short?
very, very short.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I've read with someone from Ministry of Water and what. He has given us a lot of projects, but when I look at all these projects, they are more like long-term projects. While this time, our animals are dying. While this time, when you go in the villages, people are fetching water from far places. The solution to the current situation. We wanted a solution where people today can benefit from this challenging
Okay. I hope the question has been taken note of. Okay, so this is what I want to do. By the power vested in me, let me respond to Felix first on this question. Then we'll go to the Ministry of Green Economy. Yes, and then you take the question.
How are we avoiding the water in the national conservation?
Sure thing. So, Felix, the presentation will be, the presentations that have been made will be shared. We'll get in touch with you. We've taken note of the mailing addresses and all that, as well as the phone numbers. If they are on WhatsApp, please do share the presentation. Then with regards us introducing ourselves, I think it was oversight on my end that I did not take note of the importance of having the introductions. But towards the end of this session, definitely make sure that we do have a round of introductions so that we familiarize with ourselves. So, the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you so much. The question that I will ask quite similar in a way. So I'll start, there was a question on capacity building and then on the air warning system. In a way, these are quite similar. So that way, I said, the department, the Zambia Meteorological Department is responsible for weather data collection and dissemination. So what it does is once this information is made available, and maybe before I say that, for the region, they don't just project the weather before they sit. So, and for the static region, they do meet somewhere where all the meteorological specialists come up with data that they have collected in their respective countries, and then project what will happen in the next rainy season. So that information is shared. That's when they come to individual countries and make announcements in terms how the rains will be and how the weather patterns will be like, especially say for instance in the Southern region. So what, like I said, for us to have accurate data or climate data or weather data which is accurate, we need to install a lot of weather stations. So that's why sometimes when we're listening to the weather forecast, we will find that they say we will receive rains of this much and in isolated places because information is not very accurate because we have limited tools that we use to collect that weather. So now how is this information disseminated to the stakeholders? The meteorological department, once it gathers this data, it gives it to the Ministry of Agriculture. And the Ministry of Agriculture has got presence in all the provinces, districts, up to what level? And up to camp level. So the camp officers, yes, are given this information because these are the people who interact closely with the farmers. And these are the people who are really responsible in terms of farming input distribution. So they give information to the farmers. But sometimes, us as stakeholders, we may not listen to them because maybe sometimes we doubt the information that they give. They tell us not to plant, but we go ahead and plant. They said the first rains will start in October, but there will be a gap before the actual consistent rains start falling. But just when we just show that, or we just see that the rains have started and we start planting. So sometimes it's because of ourselves, sometimes we can blame ourselves on the part of losing the seeds of plants that we put in the fields. So the air warning system has been quite effective. Like last year, we were told that there will be El Nino, so we expected such to happen. So, but in terms of preparedness, we didn't prepare adequately for what was coming ahead of us. So basically, this is what happens. The Department of Meteorological Department works with also with the disaster management and mitigation units. It also works with the Ministry of Department. So that information basically is passed on. Sometimes even SMSs are sent to those who are already registered in the system. So it is just a matter of now intensifying, because like for the 2023-2024 season, we have learned a lot, and I'm sure people pay particular attention to the information that will be disseminated.
Thanks a lot for that. I think this is from the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. I hope whoever asked the questions directed to the ministry has been satisfied by the response. So we move on to the Ministry of Water Development.
The question of cooperation to other ministries, the Ministry of Planning. I must mention that we are in the process. Yes, we had a meeting with the company from China. So there are little proposals and there are some leading consultants who are doing the visibility studies, getting water from the Polar to Africa State. Now, it's not necessary just getting that water to there will be a lot of studies that will perform. Of course, lands will be also involved in this development. So it is basically just transferring water from that side to a few catchments. It can be another river which will eventually end, that water will eventually end in a few river, which will contribute to our national development. It's hybrid generation that it is staging a few goals and others. So basically, we work in collaboration with the work of ministries and this project and consultant. The other thing is flood control. Of course, we start here when we reduce water in that flood. One of the functions of the dam is also to control floods. So, yeah, we have taken over that. And moreover, I must mention that the few rivers, most, so I can say it's our own river that we don't even share with anyone. It's not an international water, it's an inland river. And it is the most used river in Zambia. In terms of big projects, looking at Kambala, the water that you're drinking in Lusaka is coming from Rwanda. There isn't like a few. A lot of projects, starting from pop-up belts, drawing water from the Canadian. That's, I must mention that. Are you coordinating immediate interventions? There are a lot of immediate interventions, and I did just mention the water supply. I said I'm coming from the Department of Water Resources Development. There is this water supply and sanitation department. But I've got a document here where I was getting the information. It's, we're working with DM and so there are a lot of intervention which are the immediate intervention that are doing right now in order to mitigate. One of them is upgrading those balls, the community balls that we have into skills. Drilling of new balls for both animal and human consumptions. Of course, we may say our ministry, we are using the local authority. First, we have interacted with those water coordinators from the councils. Those balls that you usually come to your community. They're coming from our ministry. Right now, as I'm speaking, we are in Kanyama. We want to the issue of cholera, address the issue of cholera. It's not happening in this year because we are going to rain season. So we're in those both areas in Kanyama, we are on the ground right now as I'm speaking. People are there drilling balls. They are both in Kanyama and in George Park. Those both areas where I want to get the cholera out. So they are not just shared the document. Based on the water, there are a lot of sectors which we have aligned with the any sector. What are they doing in the education? Now, when it comes to water, let me just read some of the intervention from that other department. They are saying, they are saying the rehabilitation of the existing 509 functional boreholes. So there will be rehabilitation of those boreholes, then you need to, so that you supply. There's construction of 1,500 new pipe water schemes across the country and equipping them with solar system. There is a construction of 110 new commercial bores for these water utility companies. These are, of course, they are saying non-water revenue reduction, providing, these are now outlined. Providing water treatment chemicals for all the utility companies, installation of 22 standby water pumping system. Of course, sanitation is also catered. Construction of 250 sanitation facilities public distribution. So these are some of the interventions that we are doing as a immediate. But as for the future, we're looking at December, those dams that we're doing, we should work water so that we can, in terms of maybe another, yeah, droughts, we are able to use. So, of course, those are immediate intervention areas. So, thank you very much.
Right. Thanks a lot for that very elaborate response. I hope that was sufficient. Yeah. We can now have the question that was asked directed to the Ministry.
Yeah, on the national ecosystem assessment. Yes, we are utilizing the expertise of Ministry of Water Development. We have somebody from the Water Resources Management Authority who is part of that team that is assisting us to create a baseline and build a best delivery. They have somebody from Water Resources Management, which is under the Ministry of Water. Yeah.
All right. Yes, there's a question at the back. I think we can have 3 more questions.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, we can have 3 more questions. Just keep them brief.
Yes,
Please
it's
do.
very brief.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think it's just a follow-up from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources around the ecosystem assessment. And also, I just wanted kind of a clarity like how many ecosystems do we have? There are certain documents that I read 15, certain documents state 16 ecosystems, and whether this assessment will be done in all the ecosystems that we have in Zambia. So we need to just add that. And then the other one is also how are they working, especially with the traditional leaders around biodiversity conservation. I think this is quite serious. When the disaster happened in Milengi, I was in Milengi with the fires that were there. And then from our end, I think this was more around lack of coordination between the ministries and also the traditional leaders in terms of fire management, and that led to those disasters, something that we could have prevented. So we had those fires that swept away those, and then we had the fire also at the hospital. I mean, the time I was there, I was there, those things were happening. So I just want to hear, like, how are you working with these structures so that we prevent some of this?
Okay. Yes.
Mine is not a question. I think it's just something that has been on my mind for a long time now. It has to do with issues of drought and hunger levels. I think you all agree with me that this year's year will be very poor because of droughts. And then, as a nation, we highly depend on maize. I mean, it's our staple food. But going forward, how can we ensure that we build capacity amongst our communities to say we don't really have to rely on consumer for food? Okay? There are other foods. I mean, mostly when I think about this, I like to relate to with the Western country. I mean, the West Africa. Ghanaians, Nigerians, whatever they see, whatever they have, for them is food. Bananas, they dry bananas, they turn them in membership or pap or whatever they call it. Whatever they find, they turn and make into food which they consume. We have a lot of things, and we have a lot of food that we can also utilize. But we still rely on consumer. We just, like, sometimes I have friends that would ask, say, have you eaten today? And then she'd be like, oh, I didn't like the share rice.
Very true.
So how can we shift that thinking in our communities? Just to reduce the dependence on real energy manufacturing. Because going forward, I mean, droughts, we are expecting a drought to be worse. So how are we going to survive as a country? If we just think about it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for that question. It was a question.
It was a comment.
It was a comment, and it also morphed into what else can we say? Sentiment. Yeah. I think one thing that I would like to touch on as well is actually maize is not an indigenous crop. Yeah. So this is a crop that came in from, where is it? Mexico. Yeah, it came in from Mexico, and then we adopted it, became our, our staple. But definitely, one thing that the organization JCTR is doing as well is across its programming, making sure that we do sensitize people to say, maize is not the only source of nutrition, that you can get. So even in the statements that we produce, the basic needs and nutrition basket, we do touch on the aspect of, households having a kind of mix in terms of, or rather diversity in terms of the nutrition aspect. You could have millet, you could have sorghum, you could have all these drought-resistant crops sipping into your meals. So definitely, the program officers here have taken note of that sentiment and will obviously ensure that we are communicating to the community members out there. But beyond the organization itself, I hope even the ministries themselves planning ahead in terms of sensitizing communities to ensure that they are adopting practices that ensure the vegetation, the type of vegetation we are now planting going forward is drought resistant, also perhaps early maturity. So that sentiment is taken note of. So there was a question. I'm not sure if it was directed to the ministry or the economy. Ministry of Lands, right? Yeah. There was a question. Did you take note of it? Right. There was a question from the back there. She was asking on the ecosystem.
How many are they?
How many are they?
How many are the ecosystem?
And are you assessing on the assessment that you carried?
Okay. I think if I get that correct, it's on the scope. Right?
Yes.
We are looking at all the ecosystems in the country, but we are not undertaking any physical assessments on the ground. We are basically just looking at the available literature and also other reports by government, things like that. But it's basically for all the ecosystems. We are not singling out to say wetlands only, but it's all the ecosystems.
Because it was how many, like how many do we have? Certain literature will get 14, and the 15 ecosystem. How many do we have?
She's asking how many ecosystems we have. Other literature make mention of 14, others 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I think when starting the workshop, I think Mr. Chombo knows my challenge. I have a bit of challenge in my right ear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need to really shout. What I know is the, yeah, what I know is 16 ecosystems. Yes. And if you need to verify on that. The reference material we need to look at is the National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan, which indicates the 16 ecosystems. All right. I think we can close. What do we say in Denmark? Yeah, so we've said a lot, and I hope we all have the chance to pick from what is relevant. And beyond us being in this meeting today, our hope is that we take out the message out there, sensitize the communities. Oh, is this the Ministry of Water Development said they are going to be tapping water from Wabula, taking it to yeah, we need to spread that information and any other information that you get from this house to be able to share all the other presentations. So I'd like us to take a round of introductions, like we said, so that we know who's here, where they're coming from, and just that, who you are, where you're coming from, and then we'll have the Deputy Director to give us the closing remarks, and then we'll end in prayer. There will be logistics, and then we'll go for lunch. So we'll start from here. Okay, start from here. That's the introduction. Who you are, where you're coming from. Alan Dauchi, coming from Ministry of Land and Natural Resources. Alan Dauchi. Thanks a lot. Yes.
Can you look at this pen?
Who you are, where you're coming from. Thank you.
Western Province, Nagawa District, Mawat, Arizona. Your one.
What, Tim? Yeah, give me the number.
My name? Oh, Madrid.
Also for this one, my name is Miguel, Secretary from People's.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adaptations from Lakman.
Thank you. And the baby girl's name?
Good.
Nice.
My name is Senior from Malta.
Okay.
Good afternoon once again. My name is George Sampia.
Okay.
My name is Shangutarati Wapula Sanke.
All right.
My name is Daniel Francis.
All right. Thanks a lot. At the back there.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Father Boyd Katunga Brenda, the Deputy Director of JCTR. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
My name is Mikezo Mita, Western Province, Watembo Zone.
All right.
I'm Lydia Tambo from Zambia Communities Network. I'm the acting national spokesperson.
Thank you. Here. Okay.
Good afternoon, I'm Deputy Senator from Private.
All right. Here.
Good afternoon. My name is Music Chongo. I'm coming from the list of training and government.
Good afternoon, my name is Jennifer Monaro. Coming from Center for Environment Justice.
Good afternoon, my name is Brian Mwanyambe
from CSPR.
I'm Wanda Shabbatli from Tinagongwe, Southern Province.
Good afternoon, Mr. John, but in our local language, Mr. John is from Mwanza, South Province.
My name is Mwanza.
Okay.
Under Jones is my name from Ministry of Local Development and Sanitation.
Okay. My deputy cameraman, you can introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Gibson Mwila, Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, JCTR.
Okay. Our team here.
Good afternoon. My name is Michel Mieza. I work for JCTR.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Zulu. I am with JCTR. Thank you.
Right. And a very good afternoon to you. I have been Bernard Mwala, Communications Officer at JCTR. So thanks a lot for making it through today's event. We can now have the closing remarks from the Deputy Director, and thereafter we'll ask any volunteer to give us a closing prayer. Father Boyd.
When I'm preaching, I don't use notes, but I go off off tangent. So just to be a little bit more like focused. So all protocols observed. So on behalf of the JCTR, I'd like to commend all of you for sparing some of your precious time to come and be part of this engagement of stakeholders. Where we are promoting sustainable development and also promoting social justice through green practices that are helpful to all of us. And especially concerning the lives of the people who are marginalized and vulnerable. The presentations and our interactions during this engagement have clearly revealed our genuine concern for sustainable development and environmental protection through green activities with the aim of uplifting each one of us' lives. Evidently, the government is actively encouraging interested citizens and stakeholders to be proactive in this regard. We saw from the MPs that were here, they were very promising. And actually, we need to take it from this meeting that if we encourage people to make proposals wherever we are, with the idea of promoting green practices or smart practices, the MPs would be keen to support us. At least MP from mentioned that to me. So please, let's do that. So we should continue sensitizing people on these activities so that they can get more involved in smart agriculture and other practices that will help with conservation of the environment and sustainable development. So may we continue being ambassadors of smart agriculture and practices to positively contribute to this noble cause. So So we should never tire. I know it will not be so easy. But the thing is, if they see that we are advocating for these practices, good practices, untiring without getting tired, then some people who adopt them, and especially, I'm emphasizing, I will ask to emphasize, if I don't emphasize, I won't be a good ambassador. I was asked to say, if we can show that in Monze, in Snazon, in Sanfia, this is what we did, and CDF supported this project, and these are the results. Some people will be encouraged by that. If they don't see anything, they'll say, that's I can loosely say blah blah. Okay. So thank you so much for your attention and for your patience.
Many thanks to us. We could now have a volunteer to pray for us. Thereafter, you visit the. Where's the gentleman? Mitchell. Oh, okay. Thereafter, we are going to have your logistics given to you, and then we break off for lunch. So, any volunteer to pray for us?
Shall we pray? Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we come before you this afternoon. Father, we want to thank you because you have started with us and you have ended with us. Father, we want to commit the rest of the day into your own hands, where you continue being with us. As you are departing from this place, go before us. Bless us. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we make our prayer. Amen.
Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. All right. Thanks a lot.